It is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friend. And that's exactly what happens in this movie. Cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is in. So, according to the dialogue in this movie, when something burns, it actually becomes pure. And therefore, stuff that burns inside a volcano, for example, burns until the ash is purest white. And that is today's lesson plan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Fiore, your cinematic professor, as we delve into the world of Chinese cinema, for ash is purest white. Now, this is an interesting movie. However, like many Asian films, this movie doesn't know when to end. All right? There are at least 5 times when the screen goes black for a considerable time. And, I'm getting out of my chair, getting ready to take my notes down, figured movie's over, and boop, it pops up again. That wouldn't be so bad if this was just a dissolve, a quick dissolve to black and then back up, it's still going on. No, this movie fades to black, stays black, and then fades up from black. I thought, wow, you keep getting ideas on this thing. And I know the Chinese are notorious for actually writing the script as they're making the movie. And it's like this guy just said, no, we're not going to end it that way. Let's add another scene. And it kept adding on to the end. When it's finally all said and done, the movie is way too long. Okay. And the ending on this thing, the other 4 endings that I actually started to rise from my chair thinking the movie was over, would have made a nice, compact, small, not small, but the tale. Boy, by staying on for those other scenes, the ending of this thing is a real Debbie Downer. Good Lord. It's like, another thing that's done, and I'm not quite sure why, but it's a trait for Asian films. The continuity that they use between scenes is chaotic at best. Let me give you an example. Xiao, our main heroine in the story, is sent off to prison. Okay? Now, we don't find out until later that she was in prison for 5 years. We don't know that. We see her in prison, and then the scene cuts to her on a boat, on a ferry. Is this a flashback? Because they've used flashbacks before in the movie. No, it's not a flashback. Apparently, 5 years have passed, she's been released, and now she's heading back. Wow! I mean, talk about... Now, I know that there's a lot of editors in Hollywood right now who do not like the shot sequence that has to be kind of imposed to make a linear tale work. And a lot of them like to jump ahead and cut unnecessary scenes out. But without any bridge between those scenes, you're spending probably a good 6-7 minutes wondering what is going on, where is this at, until the dialogue comes around and explains what has happened. Wow, that's a long time in theater to try to scratch your head there and say, well, how are we here now? So it's a trait that a lot of the Asian filmmakers and directors use, and it's used here. That's just one example. It's a little bit discombobulating while you're trying to watch the movie. And let me put in one little comment here because I think it's relevant, especially if any of you have been following what's been going on here in this beautiful city of Pittsburgh recently. This movie, and I don't think it intended to do so, but this movie shows the horrors and the traps when people give up their right to bear arms and the government controls guns and gun ownership. Now, our 2 main characters are Kiao and Bin. Okay, and they're lovers, and they work together and what have you. Well, one night, Bin and Gao are out driving, and they're attacked by a gang of nefarious no-goods punks, really, on motorcycles, stopping the car, and then they're just going to beat people up and rob them, right? So, Bin gets out of the car, and, he's trying to get these guys away, because he's protecting Gao, and wow, there's just too many here. He holds his own for a while, because he's a pretty rough and tumble guy. But the numbers soon add up. He's hit from behind. He falls once you're down, and there's a gang. Then you have that gang mentality. And they're beating the living daylights out of him. Well, coincidentally, and the story will explain why, Cal's sitting in the back seat, and in her purse, she's got a gun. All right? It's Bin's gun, but it's in her purse. So she gets out of the car. She fires 2 shots into the air. Everybody panics and runs. And yeah, they grab her and throw her in jail for 5 years because she had a gun. She didn't even shoot anybody, all right? So here's a case in point where you're in danger, your significant other is in danger, and when you defend yourself, the government comes down on you. Now, are you listening, Pittsburgh City Council? Because you boneheads just made this possible in town, all right? Just a little aside there. Okay, so that's what happens. And I think the Chinese are generally very happy with the way their government dictates their lives, because they probably don't know much better. But bottom line is, it had this theme in here. And the first thing you see, sitting back watching this as an American viewer is, well, what in the hell did they go after her for? They'd have killed that guy if it hadn't been for her, Probably in an American version, she'd have got him out with a submachine gun or something, mowed the gang down or something like that, while wearing a MAGA hat. I don't know. I'm just postulating here. So the movie is hard to end. There's a little bit of continuity error. And one good thing is our main star in this, who plays Kiao, is, the movie spans a long lifetime when she's, young to when she's rather, shall we say, matronly. And through makeup, or perhaps lack thereof, she ages well in this movie. You could see a progression. You could see where her trials and tribulations have worn on her. So, okay, we've got a story that seems to be centering around this girl and her love for this guy. And my goodness, where have we heard those kinds of plot lines before? Yeah, chick flicks. Exactly right. So after this movie was all said and done, after I was faked out from 5 different endings, I realized that basically what we watched for over 2 hours was a Chinese chick flick. Now that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.